Let's see. I gotta pull up a timer so that way I can actually.
These things are sturdy.
Figure this out. They're pretty sturdy. I got them on there good.
Yeah.
They also do this.
Yeah, except for that.
We can play Star Wars.
Sounds so cool.
Did we just like soundtrack a movie? Gotta throw in the gut drum.
That sounded really cool.
That was cool.
Headphones.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Hey everybody, I'm Dane Holland, and I got more bookshelves because I have too many books. Nay, just enough books. But now I have more bookshelves.
I'm Austin Shazam Pfeiffer, and this is our ASMR
If you
episode.
keep doing that,
It's
I will find someone else
Nobody's
to
going to
not
believe
do
us.
that.
When we actually do it, nobody's going to believe us. I'm Marcus Whitaker, and I am Electric Man, and I'm also ready for some monkey business.
I'm Austin Tiny Zent, and I don't have too many books enough.
Ooh, and you've obviously read too many of them
I
to
know.
be able to speak with this level
So much
of
eloquence.
communication. That's really good. This is a podcast, and it's called Nerd It Through the Grapevine. It's a podcast, again. I said that earlier, didn't I? Before the Nerd It Through the Grapevine part? Okay, what do we do here?
we're four best friends.
Who gather weekly to talk about our favorite parts of past, present, and future nerd culture. And Marcus is going to talk about...
The Planet of the Apes.
Oh, monkey business. Oh,
See that tie-in?
was foreshadowing.
That's funny.
Innovative.
That was such good foreshadowing.
Innovative.
Man,
They're
we're
actually not monkeys, though. They're apes.
We've-
There's a difference.
Okay.
Is
Well,
there a movie called Planet of the Monkeys?
There should be.
I watched one time called Planet of the Gapes.
No, run, children, run.
He meant to
And-
say grapes.
And just for the
because
record,
this is a podcast where nerd.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
just for the record, how do we get to that planet? This is just for like records. This is not for me personally.
Well, you go to the internet,
Okay.
and there's a site that's similar to YouTube.
Okay.
There's black and yellow borders.
Okay. Got it.
And then you just type it
I'm
in.
typing.
But we don't recommend this.
Okay. Never
Or
mind.
do we?
I'll
I
go
don't
back
know.
to it later. I don't know, man.
This is up to you.
Hey, it depends on who we end
I
up getting
think it's your
sponsored.
choice.
Ends up who we getting sponsored by. That's whether we'll name this website or not.
Okay.
That's
Talk
exactly
about
right.
not monkey.
Well, I just thought that Planet of the Apes is, I don't know, it's kind of a staple of science fiction. Like it's just one of those that you look to when it comes to science fiction cinema as like one of the best. When it comes to the 70s movies, I mean, you know, by now they're a little dated. This was the 70s, but those movies like won Oscars and like awards for like their visual effects and their makeup and everything.
What is the what's the like the situation? What is the movie about?
Planet of the Apes?
I know,
Come on,
I'm
y'all
just
know.
saying,
No, I'm
they-
just
there
kidding.
might-
I'm just kidding.
It's a
There's-
70s
So it started
movie,
out as
so
like a
no-
French novel. Like some French novelist wrote
I'm already learning.
like the world of the apes or something, and so they kind of just took that and made it into a movie. They definitely changed it a lot. I mean, I guess we can spoil it. It's been long enough, right?
Yeah, that's
I'm
fine.
so
I mean, I haven't seen it.
conscious of spoilers, maybe too much so.
Why are you looking at me?
Have you seen it? Who all seen it? The originals or the new ones that have come out
I've
recently?
seen the originals. I've seen the Mark Wahlberg.
Ooh, I forgot about that one.
I've seen the newer versions with James Franco.
What'd you think about those?
I lost track towards the last movie. I've actually still never seen the last movie. Just
It's not
because-
that great. The
No.
last one's not that great. But those first two, I would say, are some of the best modern sci-fi that we've had in a long, long
I
time.
liked it a lot. They were kind of on the level of Ex Machina with me for sci-fi stuff.
I've actually not seen that one, but I've heard really good things about
good.
it.
Sir.
Oscar Isaac, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's wonderful.
Put that on your list.
Yes, I should.
I've seen none
Really?
of the
Okay.
Planet of the Apes movies. I kind of know the idea.
Yeah, yeah.
But as far as
So
I have
apes
no idea.
have evolved. They over time they evolve to develop higher intelligence, and somehow humans devolve. And that's how you get the Planet of the Apes. So it's like, you know, a society dominated by apes. And it seems really, really far-fetched, and those old movies do kind of look goofy, you know. But, I mean, we're just apes.
True.
So it's not that far-fetched.
Apes that know how to go on the internet and find things they should never be looking up, like
Yes.
Planet of the Apes.
I mean,
Exactly.
it explains so many plot holes in the one that I've seen.
Now, just for my just for myself, this could be a literal name of one of those films. Is it, or is this made
I
up?
have no
Okay,
idea.
gotcha. Because I mean, as
It's
far as
the
I know,
result of a game bred from boredom at the factory that I used to work at.
okay, gotcha. But because that could easily be real. Depending on how much free time we have, it could end up real. We don't know.
Think about if they had time traveled in these movies. Then you could have like President Ape Lincoln.
Okay, I was really confused for a second. I don't know if you're still talking
So-
about what I was talking about or
Okay,
him.
so there was the 70s version, which they had like 6 movies, and probably maybe about 2 or 3 are really even kind of worth a watch, in my opinion. So they kind of got a little hammy after the success of the first couple. But then there was a Tim Burton remake back in the 2001 maybe, and it was pretty bad.
That was
you
the
know.
Mark Wahlberg one.
Yeah, Mark Wahlberg. And the only thing I liked about that one was that somehow that chimp that he sets out to space with turns out to be...
I don't think you're supposed to be talking about this chimp. I think they're on their way.
I doubt that.
No, that's from when I called them
about...
about the terpene topic that you did a couple weeks ago, and they're just now getting here to arrest you?
that explains a lot.
Excellent response time.
Gummit.
Well, they got to prioritize.
All right, before the police interrupted you,
Yeah,
what?
what was I saying?
I don't know, man.
You said time travel.
Yes.
So okay, well, spoilers for the 70s ones, guys. So you don't really know that, like, they start off in space, and then they kind of crash land on this strange planet in quotation marks, and come to find out at the end of the movie, he's walking along the beach. They find evidence of an earlier human society, and then all of a sudden he sees the Statue of Liberty just sitting there in the sand, and that's like the end of the first movie. And so it makes it clear that, oh my gosh, this is Earth in the future.
Yep.
So the new ones, or the Tim Burton one, kind of did that same little thing, except he found his spaceship. So his spaceship had become like this ancient ruin on this planet by the time he finds it again. So I kind of liked that, but that's literally the only thing I liked about that movie.
What about how unordinarily attractive the female chimpanzee was in that movie?
That was, what's her name? Bonham Carter or Bonham?
Helena Bonham Carter?
Yeah,
Well, that explains it.
right.
Yeah. Another odd fact about that is, like, if you compare that monkey/ape thing with later Michael Jackson pictures,
Wow.
very,
That's actually
very close. Now, every time you're watching the movie, you're only going to see that thing. And be
Well,
like,
I won't watch that one again. I won't watch
Instead
that
of
one again.
yeah,
So-
okay, I'm with that one.
I don't remember what year they came out with the newer ones. Like you said, James Franco is in the kind of the rebooted version. So in the first Charlton Heston 70s version, they find this cave. And like the whole society looks to Caesar as like their father, like the father of their culture, kind of like Father Abraham, So this character named Caesar. So what the new films do is they take that Caesar character and they kind of give you his origin story. So it's like, he's a chimp in a lab, and they're experimenting on them, and they've got this new like treatment for like Alzheimer's or something, and that just somehow has a side effect that makes these chimps like super intelligent,
So
where
with
they're
it,
able to take over.
with it telling
eventually.
the story of Caesar, are the new ones like a prequel, or is
Basically,
it just
yeah.
expound on the?
It's basically a prequel. It's basically just taking it
Okay.
from a completely different perspective and just showing you Caesar and how he was like the first ape to kind of wake up, if you will.
and it's showing his
the
trials and
relationship-
tribulations and struggles. in
Yeah,
the
and so that
movies.
first one's kind of like, I really like it. I don't guess it would be your typical sci-fi movie because it's kind of James Franco, who's a scientist at this lab, who takes home this chimp because his father has Alzheimer's. And so, I don't know. It's kind of about their relationship, about James Franco and the relationship with this chimp, Caesar, who becomes almost, like a human companion at this point. He knows sign language and everything. So, and it's not until the second movie that you start to see them develop an actual culture. And to me, that one's like really, really cool.
And then in the third one, You kind of get
Woody Harrelson shows up and some stuff happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the only thing. But those first two are by far worth it. Like, they are so good.
So the third one is the one I haven't seen, right? Is that
Yeah.
War for the Planet of the Apes? Is
Yes.
that what it
Yes.
is?
The first one's Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Yes.
And of course, my hero, Andy Serkis, is Caesar. All motion capture, face recognition capture, all that high tech stuff.
And
But
Andy
man,
Serkis
what a
is
performance.
Andy Serkis is a guy who's played a bunch
Gollum.
of characters that no one sees his face, like
Right.
Andy's face,
But he's
he
also
plays
done a few roles
all these
lately.
epic characters.
Gosh. You could pretty much just go ahead and bet that if it was like a major motion capture performance, it was Andy Serkis. He's
Okay.
done a lot of that work.
Yeah.
Him and the guy that played Vision.
Yes, he does a lot of
He was the Silver
voice
Surfer
work and things
Okay.
like that.
in
Yeah.
Fantastic Four.
Well, yeah, it's a common thing now. But Andy Serkis was the first person that should have gotten an Oscar for a performance under motion capture for Smeagol. But there was literally no award to give him because they didn't have the category.
Did they
Best.
create one after him or no? They're still not?
I don't keep up with it that much,
Yeah.
but man,
They should.
no, he needs like a legacy award. They need to have like an Oscar named after him, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He's amazing. Andy Serkis is like one of my heroes. I don't know why, but he's awesome. Anyway, he's Caesar. But yeah, that second one's probably my favorite just because these newer movies take it way more seriously, and it's like makes it a little bit more realistic, if you will. It's a lot easier to suspend your disbelief because you already know this is Earth and like, you know, not some distant planet. And then to see the apes start to develop a culture is what's so interesting about that second movie to me.
So in these, instead of throwing you into this fantasy world that's already established from all these apes in this stuff, it's in our world, and it's
Yeah, and I think
It's
that really actually helps
creating
a story
it.
like that.
Yeah.
Because it is kind of weird. It's just, oh, they travel through space and they hit a wormhole, and then all of a sudden they're at this planet ruled by monkeys. You know? So I think it works a lot better with the way they've done it nowadays.
I think that idea flew a little bit better in the 70s because
That's true.
It was
That's
just kind
true.
of shocking.
Plus, like I said, it was a hit, man. I mean, it
Yeah.
was a massive hit. It won awards. I mean, it's a tried and true property.
yeah,
the
and
Planet of the
I've
Apes.
never even seen the movie, and yet I've seen a lot of it.
Yeah.
Like not even like meaning to. It's just
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a lot of those. Like the practical effects in that. I mean, that was around the time of Star Wars as well. Does that predate Star Wars?
Yeah, it
It
actually
does.
does predate
Okay,
Star Wars.
so it's early 70s. Cool. So yeah, I've seen the practical effects in that, and how it's this weird. I don't know. It feels different from CGI, like the monkeys, like from the newer ones of what I've seen.
Yeah.
It sends a different message to my brain that kind of trips me out.
You mean the
little bit.
CGI apes
Yeah,
nowadays?
the CGI apes now. It doesn't like there's this I don't know, distance from reality with that with me as comparing it to the practical effects version, which
Right.
it obviously looks fake, but it's not digital.
Right.
So it's still this weird, like, okay, it looks really fake, but is
Yeah.
it real? Like there's
There
a
is
part
some
of
of
that
that.
little piece in your head that you know is wrong,
Yeah.
but it's still trying to make you think that, which is why I think Star Wars is so effective in that as well, because
Yeah.
they're moving realistically.
I would say watch it and just have in your brain that those are human actors
yeah. Okay.
playing those apes. And to me, it's some of the most thrilling, like, cinema experiences you could have.
Yeah.
But I'm a weirdo.
No.
Wait.
I want to be a weirdo. Now I want to watch it.
Gary Oldman was in that
No.
movie.
Do not tell me Gary
he
Oldman was in that.
He's in the second one, and he's great.
Ooh. He's one of my favorite
He's in
actors
the best.
of all time.
He's in the best movie.
Okay. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, he plays a human character because in the second one, humans are, there's a time jump from the first one because that's basically how the world ends.
Okay.
Second one is the apes have started to develop a culture. Caesar is like the father of this culture, and he's like what's keeping it all together. And Gary Oldman is this human character, and they've fallen back into like the city, and they've kind of got it walled off. They're trying to get power restored to their city, but it just so happens that that's where the apes have made their new little culture. Is the generator, the dam? There's a dam,
Cool.
yeah, that they have to get to
Now I want to
turn on
see
the
all
power.
these.
Oh, dude, it's so good.
Okay.
Please.
Yeah. You've
I
done
mean,
it.
I would, as much as my dad like bought the DVD box set when it first came out of all the old Planet of the Apes, and so the old ones do have a special place in my heart. But man, it's 2020. Just go ahead and watch the new ones and tell me what you think.
No. I'm going to start from the beginning.
Do it,
And
by all
if you
means.
would
Just
like to watch
but
the
you
entire-
should skip maybe the Tim Burton one.
No, you got to watch the Mark Wahlberg one just so you can appreciate how much better the new ones are.
Have you, Tony? Have you seen it?
No,
the originals,
I've not seen any of them.
or any of them either?
I've seen
Okay.
like bits and pieces of the old one, like sprinkled into just culture in general, but
Yeah.
Like
or
Family
sitting
Guy.
down and watching it, not really seen it.
There's that Family Guy reference where you how many damn dirty apes does it take to screw in a light bulb? It's one of them. He was, yeah,
So just a Family Guy, haha.
that's all it was.
That's all that was.
That's all it was.
There actually is an homage in that first movie to the original '70s movie because like there's just like a scene that's starting with like an establishing shot of a neighborhood. It's like there's a scene and then now this is a new scene. It shows like a neighborhood and this paperboy throwing newspapers, and then like one of the papers lands on the doorstep and you see it and it's talking about the disappearance of a spaceship. The spaceship from the '70s.
Well,
so it kind of exists in universe, but it's just a tiny little nod to it.
With a movie as epic in the sci-fi world of movies, you have to do something that's
Oh yeah, you've got to have
call
them
back
Easter
to it.
eggs.
Yeah,
And then the damn dirty ape line, which is famous. Charlton Heston was the lead in the '70s movie. But yeah, there's they definitely call back to that line in the new one too. It's
Cool.
really good.
neat. Well, now I want to go watch
Planet of the Apes.
And I've never wanted to watch it. Like honestly, like I've always seen it and I know it's a staple, but I was just like, there's so many other movies. I don't care. Now I care. Thank you.
I did my job.
You did it. Actually, I don't want to do the rest of this podcast. I think I just want to go watch this movie.
Let's do it because I'm inspired now.
You're in it too?
Yeah, I'm in it. Let's get. In
Let's
this
quit.
boat.
What about
let's
it
canoe
has
down this
inspired
river
you though?
together.
What about it has like
I think
excited your imagination?
Honestly, I think it's just your passion talking about
Yeah.
it. Like because I've never heard
Absolutely.
anyone like really get into like why they love it so much.
Yeah.
Like it's always just been it's important. You need to watch it. Like and
I
that's
think it is. Yeah.
But hearing you say like why, and I'm just like
Plus, there's
now
the whole underlying evolutionary story going on in the subtext of
Oh,
it
yeah.
all. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, like humans are not irreplaceable.
No.
You know, so there's always that kind of
And
aspect.
although we're advancing, there are many areas where we are devolving. Like,
Right.
like we're
And
not
that's another-
always
That's
advancing.
another thing about the cool thing about the new one is like you're kind of on the ape side. Like you're kind of rooting for the apes. In the old one, you're just rooting for Charlton Heston. You know, the hero of the story.
Right.
But
And
now you're
Beyonce
rooting for Caesar.
actually wrote a song about that too.
Oh no.
Yeah.
What is this joke?
Don't you ever for a second get to thinking that you're irreplaceable?
Was that on Lemonade? Because if it wasn't on Lemonade, I don't know it.
To the left, to the left.
Thanks. And to Marcus's left, they don't know that I'm on your right, so I can say that, and it makes the joke funnier. I'm going to talk about the lantern cores of the DC universe.
Yes.
Yes. For those of you not aware, there are many more than just the Green Lanterns. Many know of the Yellow Lanterns with Sinestro, but there's also one for each color of the color spectrum for Roy G. Biv. Roy, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. I did it, right?
Chartreuse.
Is that all of them? Oh, no. There's not a chartreuse one. There needs to be. Dang. Anyway, so they call it's on the color spectrum for all the different cores, but they all span across what they call in this universe the emotional spectrum as well, because each ring is powered by something different. So with Green Lanterns, the one everyone's most familiar with, that is by willpower. Like if they will it, if they have enough willpower to do
green one?
something. Yes, the green. The green is will.
Cool.
Yellow is fear. I should have written this down so I can look down at it instead of having to go through Roy G. Biv in my head. But orange, so yellow is fear. Orange is avarice, which is like greed,
Yeah.
like jealousy of things and just greed in general. Green, like I said, willpower. Blue is hope, which is my favorite. I've got a blue lantern ring. I've got a tattoo. I don't know. I love it. Their main saying is "all will be well." Many times in my life have I like it's so stupid that a comic book can do this for me, but I can think back to my favorite comics involving the Blue Lanterns and find peace. Like it's great.
It is great.
Then you'll find my favorites.
Yeah.
My favorites will be right along with yours.
Yes.
On the opposite end.
Yeah. His favorite's red. Wait, did I do red first? I didn't do red first. I did yellow first. I really should have written down Roy G. Biv, Tiny. Why didn't you do that? Help. Write the word Roy G. Biv. Write it. Thank you. Red is rage. So red is rage. I did orange is avarice. I did yellow is fear. I did green is will. I did blue is hope. Indigo is compassion. And then violet is love. Which there is a difference between the two. What's interesting about, I guess we can start with all of them and just kind of go through them. What I find interesting about them. The red lanterns, powered by rage, they have so much rage inside them, and the ring kind of unlocks this ability for them to turn that rage into like physical lava, basically. Which you know, Austin, even more of the Red Lanterns than I do,
fire.
because they were his favorite, so he got really into them.
Upon being accepted by the Red Lantern's ring, the blood in your body becomes so hot with rage that it boils. And once it boils, it ruptures everything inside of you, and the ring heals you. And the remainder of what's left inside of you is a lava-style, gooey... Just, you can always see it like oozing out of like pores or the sides of the mouth of the Red Lantern characters. Just because
they're bad guys.
they're viewed in different ways. It just depends on who's leading them and why. But they can be cognitive, or they can just be killing machines. Mm-hmm. I've seen them go both ways.
Yeah, there's this. Thank you. There's this character, Bleeze. She once was this like angelic looking creature with these epic wings, beautiful. And then when she like became a member of the Red Lanterns, her wings turned to just like bones, like skeleton wings on the back of her. And then this a river that's on their home planet, I think, like even heals her at one point because her ring is removed. And like you said, if that ring is removed, you no longer have something to heal you from your innards turning into lava. God. Yeah, it's pretty epic. Actually, most of the Lantern Corps are so much more interesting than Green because, I don't know, I guess it's maybe just because I've had Green for so long that once I got into these, I just found them really interesting. The Orange Lantern, there's one Orange Lantern, which makes sense because if you're driven by avarice, why would you want anyone else to have something that you could have,
Right.
like of having that power? The one Orange Lantern, his name is Larfleeze. He's this like dog lizard looking.
Looks like a hamster had sex
Dog
with a
lizard
jackal.
looking.
I don't even know what part would look lizardy. Maybe just the mouth or something. I don't know. He looks crazy. Yeah, like a jackal and a
Hamster.
hamster. Sure. Yeah, hamster jackal. I like
Yeah,
that.
because of
That's
his
That's better than
forehead.
mine.
His forehead really reminds me of a hamster, and his nose at the end reminds me of a baboon.
Yeah, baboon's nose. So what he does to get members of his Lantern Corps, he entraps their souls into his ring, and they become slaves of his to where he can use his ring to bring them to life to kind of do his bidding. So it's great. Like he has his own little graphic novel. It's called Agent Orange, and it's like his own little side kind of story because he's very interesting for someone who pretty much only says the word mine. He's great. Yellow is, like I said, Sinestro is actually called the Sinestro Corps. Because he is the sole owner of it. Who Sinestro was once a Green Lantern, and he was Hal Jordan's like best buddy in it. And he eventually turns from them because they won't do what's necessary. So he feels he needs to do much more, and fear is his way of governing instead of using willpower. So he has his core, and they're kind of similar in their, I don't know, their ways and their looks as the Red Lanterns, just because they're kind of quote unquote the bad guys, like evil, which a lot of their deeds are driven by what we deem evil, but the way they present themselves, like the way Sinestro explains a bunch of things he does, you sometimes side with him. Like it's really weird.
He's very calculating and intelligent.
He is. He's very intelligent. So he's a really interesting villain because he and Hal have to team up a lot of times too with things, and it shows just how well they work together, which brings you back to that time where he was once a Green Lantern with Hal. So that story of their friendship turned into mortal enemies makes their characters so much more interesting too. Like they all build on each other, making the other more interesting. Which is great. Jeff Johns is the one who expanded this whole universe with his story, Blackest Night. And that's where he kind of invented all these other Lantern Corps. And Green, I feel like I don't have to say much about the Green Lanterns.
Yeah, you do, because I don't know.
No, willpower is what they're, yeah. They use
I mean,
willpower.
y'all haven't seen Planet of the Apes. Give me a
Yeah,
break.
well, that's okay, fine.
I mean, one of the greatest movies of our generation.
Oh,
Ryan
no.
Reynolds
No.
in The Green Lantern was one of the most amazing, iconic things.
So I have seen
I've
that
ever
movie.
seen.
You're right, but I have seen that movie, but only completely out of order. I've only seen fragmented scenes, but I've seen every scene because I used to
Green
work
Lantern?
at Walmart
Oh, okay.
when it came out.
You know, it was playing on those back movie screens.
Yes,
Yeah. So you have seen it. Just
I
not
have
in order.
seen it.
Well, it's not really one that
Not
you
in
have
order.
to see. Like you don't have to see it.
I
It
could-
had
I could
some
kinda
cool
figure
parts, like being able to see the Green Lantern on screen.
I liked the
It's cool,
little
but
like I don't know if it was post credit or what, but you see Sinestro go
Yes.
from green to yellow.
that was the coolest part.
yeah.
And there's this entity of fear called Parallax that they
Oh yeah,
show.
well maybe that's who I thought it. Maybe that's it.
That's the smoke monster thing that they had in it, which is just such a dumb way of presenting that character.
That wasn't a good way.
Smoke Monster.
Yeah. Well, you saw the movie
Go
Out of War.
on.
You probably don't remember him.
Well, Smoke Monster reminds me of Lost, but we're not going to get there.
They're in the same universe.
Yeah, sure. They might as well be.
Makes sense.
Yeah, each Lantern Corps has what's called an entity of that color of the core of that emotion, and of fear. Its name is Parallax, and
Okay.
it's like this.
So Parallax is like his
it's like this parasite demon thing.
right.
But it
His
can
overlord.
Yeah, if you let it consume you, it will change your appearance. Like Sinestro has done it in the past to make him like insanely powerful, to where he is only driven by fear and nothing else, and it's too much for most to be able to handle. But he's one that's been able to take that in and also give it up, because most would never give it up. And Hal Jordan, like the main Green Lantern, the one in that movie, in comics, he is also like taken it and it's controlled him. There's this epic old cover to an issue to where he has this super evil grin on his face and he's showing both of his hands, and it's just covered in like Green Lantern rings and Yellow Lantern rings, and he's just got them all on his hands, and it's just it's a way you've never seen a hero before.
Yeah.
And for them to show Hal that way, it's pretty epic. But yeah, willpower's that's basically, they've got it. They're basically space police. Yeah. So they're neat.
Sorry.
Oh yes, I think that's the next words to that song, right? Oh yes. Blue, my favorite of all. Hope is what they use. Saint Walker is their main kind of guy. His story is insanely sad because on his home world, their son had not like son, his child, but he comes in the story too. But the sun in the sky, it's aging to a point to where it's going to die out and explode and kill their entire planet. And he's the one that's like prays to whatever entity it is they pray to, but he's led to this mountaintop, and he brings his family up there with him because they need to make this journey, because he knows something's up there for them to be able to save the planet. He just doesn't know what yet. So he brings his whole family with him, and they all die along the journey on this mountaintop. And once he gets up there, there's like nothing, but he still has hope that he can somehow fix what's happening. And when that happens, the Blue Lantern ring finds him, and he's able to heal the sun with his ring, because after all that torment he just went through, like anyone else would have given up hope, but he didn't. So he got the ring and he saved the planet by healing the sun. And that's their main ability, is healing. And that's actually pretty much their only ability, besides being able to just do like a simple like energy blast. But when they get in the close proximity of a Green Lantern, they give each other like boosted power to where they're both running at like 200% power with the Green and the Blue Lanterns.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really cool how they just unlock each other, because when you combine willpower and hope, it's like, just think of it in people. Like if someone has that much will and that much hope as well, like you cannot stop them. Like they're going to succeed whatever it is they.
I love the combos. I love the combos of the Lantern Corps. Just like where you have your red and your green combined together, like with Guy Gardner. He was actually capable of still using the Green Lantern's willpower with the rage of the Red Lanterns, and it just, because that's focused rage is what that would be considered, and that was pretty unstoppable at that
Like
point.
a pinpoint focus.
Gnarly. It's very gnarly.
Yeah.
Moving on, the Blue Lantern, the whole story for the Blue Lantern, I could get into that big time, but I kind of wanted to cover all these. indigo with compassion. Insanely interesting about them is you think compassion, they're just all very like, I don't know, like monk-like, which they are kind of monk-like, but they're actually, everyone in the indigo core, they were at one point the most dangerous beings in the universe, like the most, like the ones that have killed the most like beings and things. Like they have been taken by who's called the guardians of the universe. They're the ones who are in charge of the Green Lanterns, but they created this ring, and it basically enslaves them and forces compassion upon them to kind of atone for all of their sins that they've had. And at one point Sinestro ends up with one of those rings. He kind of has to deal with everything that he like put other people through. So it forces them into this compassionate state. The leaders of the Indigo tribe, they do all these like great epic things, but at their core, like they are this like evil being, and it's just neat to see.
But they're just made to act in a compassionate way.
Yeah,
That's actually
and
pretty
it's
cool.
all part of their atonement.
It's like
for that.
their hell. Like,
yeah, it is honestly, and it's just that's insanely interesting. And then Violet is one of the least interesting for me, but still pretty cool. Love is Violet, and they love to a fault. With that, to the point of like being dangerous, because most of the time they're seen as part of the good guys. Then other times, love can go too far to where they end up causing a lot of destruction because of it.
You see, they will do that. See, most people would do anything for love, but they won't do that. They will do that.
Yes.
And that is what makes them cross the line.
Yeah, that's the one. And there are also, haven't even mentioned these yet, but I got to do it quick. There are the Black Lanterns.
I love that.
Yeah, they're zombies, essentially. So any character in the DC universe that has died in past comics, in this story arc called The Blackest Night, the Black Lantern rings go on those characters. So either they're still dead or currently living. If they had ever died in their history and come back to life, because that happens all the time in comics, they are turned into this zombie-like creature of death.
It went multiple timelines, didn't it?
Oh, yeah. It crossed all different stories.
Yeah.
So if a character died at all, they became a Black Lantern. So then it was those that had
so
never...
eventually all the characters in comic history will be a Black Lantern.
Many of them. There's this epic moment where Martian Manhunter, he died in the past, but he became a Black Lantern. He's fighting, I don't remember who it was, maybe Supergirl or something like that.
Yeah, that looks right in my head.
But maybe wrong. But he picks up this entire building, and before he does it, he says, "I don't know why people forget I'm as strong as Superman." And he picks up this entire building to smash it on her. And it's just this, it's less epic when I say it, because I'm not an epic boy. But when the Martian Manhunter does it as a villain, getting to see, which that's a cliche that's done a whole lot, or a trope, I guess we could even say, when the hero becomes a villain just to make an interesting story because they've run out of ideas for them to do good. And it's there's so many of those for Superman.
We could look up that trope.
So many. We could to our trope segment. And then to counteract with the Black Lanterns of Death, there are the White Lanterns of Life. And that's the ones that can heal those Black Lanterns and release them from that state. So there's a lot. There's a lot. A lot of people only know of the Green Lanterns. And the Yellow Lanterns are kind of fuzzy with them. Oh, yeah, I've seen something like that. But there's a lot of story there. And Jeff Johns is the father of that entire portion of the Lantern universe, and that's why they have kind of taken over for me, because Superman's always been my favorite. But once I saw that Blue Lantern story, which is pretty much at the beginning of this whole arc, it set the tone for me for that entire thing, and it took over for me.
That they all have their own oaths.
Yes,
That's just because it's poetic that they all get to signify what their core means and what they're oathing when they recharge their batteries, when they recharge the rings. They have a battery station pretty much that will recharge their rings, and they occasionally have to recharge their battery station at the main station where they have their main source of their power.
And the Blue Lanterns is, "In fearful day, in raging night, with strong hearts full, our souls ignite. When all seems lost in the war of light, look to the stars, for hope burns bright."
I like yours. Yours is
That's the one. Ours is good.
Yours is crisp. Mine's a little bit more Gooey. It's, with blood and rage of crimson red, ripped from the corpse so freshly dead, together with our hellish hate, we'll burn you all. That is your fate.
Yeah, pretty epic.
I think I'm a red.
The Orange Lanterns is mine. He just says mine. So there's these epic moments where every single person in each corps is saying their oath to charge up their rings, and then he just says mine, and that's it. Because he's looking at them all like real confused, like, what are y'all doing?
It's like the seagulls in that that one movie.
What?
So if you ever want to get into the Lantern Corps, read Blackest Night. It's fantastic. So good. Love it.
When did that come out?
Nah, I don't know. I don't remember. I didn't do research. Like I said, this is all off the
But
dome.
like, a long time ago.
No, 2000s.
Okay.
I would say somewhere between 2004 and 2008.
Yeah, I would say probably around 2008.
Cool.
It's probably that. But I could look it up and tell you later. I don't want to tell you now. It's a mystery. It's my secret. Tiny, tell me some secrets.
Ooh. Okay, so I want to talk about the often spoke of but seldom touted SKCU, the Stephen King Cinematic Universe.
Oh.
And
I'm in.
so there's some really great movies and really bad movies and some really horrible movie adaptations. So I compiled a top 5 list of the good ones and the bad ones. Now, I'm not saying these movies are necessarily good. I'm just talking about how close they are to the source material. So the good ones, and I'm going to start at 5 and work my way to 1.
Ooh, good. I love these countdowns.
Yes.
Coming
So-
in at number 5.
Coming in at number
Five.
5, we have Misery. Very good movie. I believe it's Kathy Bates. Super fantastic.
Richard Kahn.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Never forget that one.
Yep, he wrote it shortly after his accident, so it's loosely based on his wreck. Like most things in his life is loosely based on something.
That's the one with the leg breaking in the bed because he was writing the thing
yes,
in
it
the
was.
super fan. Okay.
And
Yeah.
it hurts
It's
every
because
time you see it.
It's because he killed her character, right?
Yes,
She
he
was
killed
reading
Misery.
his books. Yeah.
And on Facebook, it went around for a while, this woman screaming in the bookstore. That was actually an homage to that movie. A lot of people thought that was real, but no, she was doing
Viral marketing.
viral marketing for some new book release. Number 4 is the 1989 Pet Cemetery.
I don't know why I was thinking you were about to say World Series. The 1989
Yes.
World Series. Stephen King actually wrote it.
You don't want to
Oakland
go
A's.
up there in that old Indian graveyard. The ground's rotten.
I give that a 10 out of 10 impression because I mean that was real good.
Good job. He doesn't give those out to anybody.
No, some of my picks. Oh, you should have waited till the other list.
We're gonna have a worst list.
Oh yeah,
too?
we got a top
Yeah.
5 worst list.
I'm excited about that
Some
too.
of my choices will be controversial.
Now, are these your? This is your personal,
My personal
okay,
list.
of the source material
Yes.
closeness to. Okay,
yes.
cool.
Because I love Stephen King. I've read about 99% of his books. So number 3 is actually a 2-parter. It's the 2017 and 2019 It Part 1 and 2.
Nice.
So good.
I saw the
So
first one. I
close.
don't really watch spookies, but I saw the first one.
Does the other adaptation get on any list?
That's on the other list.
Crap. Wait the turn.
I have to know because I've seen that one, but I haven't seen the new ones.
I will say it's not number 1 on the other list. If that makes you feel better. Coming in at number 2, you may not realize it, but Stand By Me. That was a Stephen King book.
Well,
Well, it was a novella in different seasons.
cool. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Wait.
Oh yeah,
The
spot on.
TV show?
No.
Is that a movie?
Movie.
Man, it's been a long time.
Oh,
since
I'm
I've seen
thinking
that
of
one.
This Is Us.
No, 4 little boys going to
Stand
see a
By
dead
Me.
body.
This Is Us.
Yeah, it's the
Oh,
kids that-
yeah.
Yeah, they swim and there's
Okay.
leeches. Yeah, that one.
Oh, and one got on his pee-pee.
Yes.
Oh,
remember that.
no. In
Yeah,
the
that'd be
book and the
terrible.
movie?
Yes.
He got a bug on his pee-pee?
Yes. Oddly enough, I didn't know for a long time that the movie existed until I was watching it with my sister, and I'm like, man, this looks so familiar. She's like, well, wait till you see this coming up. And he jumps in the water, and I went, there's a leech on his wiener. She's like, you've seen this. No, I've read it. And
Just sounds like a bunch of smut to me.
It's pretty much word for word the book, which is
Nice.
fantastic.
Oh.
And coming in at number 1 is also from different seasons, The Shawshank Redemption. Such a fantastic movie.
So sad.
Didn't know that was Stephen King.
Yes, it is.
Had
Same
no
book.
idea.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and it's like as you read it, you can
As you
watch
read
it
it,
as
it's
you read it.
pretty
It's
much
spot on,
just
as
the
it
book.
can be for an
Yes.
adaptation.
Well, no, it's not even just as it can be
Oh,
because it was written in third person anyway, so you don't have
Oh.
that internal monologue to really go with.
yeah.
So, yeah, fantastic.
Told from the perspective of Red.
Yes. Okay, now the bad list.
I think I'm more excited for
Yeah.
this one.
Okay.
It's like whenever you read reviews for a product, I don't want to see what the 5 stars are. I know what the product's supposed to be.
Exactly.
I want to see what people hate about it.
Exactly like them sugar-free gummy bears.
No, those are the
Those
best
are the best reviews of
ever.
all time. Oh, I love it. Okay, so number 5 is the 1990 Stephen King's It. I'm sorry, Tim Curry fans, it is a garbage movie. Both as a film and as a movie adaptation. Garbage. Like, I love Tim Curry. Movie's trash.
Hot stinking fecal garbage,
Hot-
as some would say.
Ooh, do I get to do it or do you want to do it?
That's up to him. That's his trademark.
Yeah, that's why I asked.
I'm personally not going to do that myself because I enjoy that for its nostalgia factor because I
Yes.
remember it scaring me as
and
a
that's
child.
fine.
But
No, it's not.
I watched that not but maybe 3-4 months ago, and that movie is in fact hot, stinking, fecal garbage.
It's so much better in person.
Half of the microphone like disappears into his mouth.
I
so.
never realized that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's a whole thing.
Okay. And the next one on the bad list is actually one of my top movies, but as far as books to movies go, awful. The Green Mile.
Love that movie.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
It's a great movie.
Bad film adaptation.
Really?
Yes.
So
They changed so much about the story, about how Paul actually finds out that John Coffey is innocent. Spoiler alert. And the whole, just the way the story's told is very different. It's almost bizarre how different it is.
for how good the movie is, does the book compare to that quality?
Yeah, I mean, they're both really good. Like I said, it's one of my favorite movies, but as far as film adaptation goes, it's bad.
That's
That's
wild.
crazy.
Yeah. For
So
some,
does it ever explain his magic?
No, not really. They leaned into the whole magic part a lot in the movie,
Right.
which that's in the book. Like, he does heal
Yeah.
people, but how Paul actually finds out he's innocent was actually a very
Different.
mundane thing. Like, he literally hands him his shoe and tries to see if he can tie it. Because in the pocket of his overalls, there was a pack of sausages that he fed to the dogs before he snapped the neck, supposedly, and it was tied back. And so he hands him a shoe. He can't tie a knot. So how did he retie it? He didn't do it.
oh,
Yeah.
see, I like the not explaining the magic part
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and you don't need necessarily an explanation, but at least some, even if it's a soft magic system, you can,
Well,
like the Force is a thing that surrounds every living
yeah.
thing and blah, 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 blah. Like just
A vague,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
See, the way that
Yeah.
Paul correlated it in his mind was saying that it was a gift from God. He just explained
Right.
it to himself, with a snap of a finger like that. Like,
Yeah.
no backstory needed for him. He just said, this is one of God's chosen creatures.
I remember watching that movie the first time, like just not expecting anything like that. I didn't know it was Stephen King. I didn't know what it was. I just knew it was Tom Hanks
When Mr. Jingles got stepped on, I was distraught.
Oh, yeah.
getting all electrode.
Well, I mean, in the book,
Walk in
it's
the green
his healing ability. Paul also considers it a gift from God.
Yeah.
Same
Yeah.
principle.
I just thought it was when I first saw it, I was just like, "Whoa!" Like that it seemed like it came out of nowhere. It was a great movie. It didn't ruin the experience or anything.
Yeah.
It made it better, but it seemed like it was odd. Like I wasn't expecting it. So I just wondered if there was any more to dig into in the
No,
books.
not really. That's pretty much as you say it.
Yeah, that's kind of Stephen King though.
Yeah. Coming in at number 3 on the naughty list, Dreamcatcher.
I remember that movie.
Bad movie, bad adaptation.
It's kind of boring.
The character of Duddits in the book, you loved him. Like, he tugged at the heartstrings so much. He was such a good character, and then they make him an alien. They make him the enemy. It was terrible. The one thing that movie got right was when Jonesy was stuck in his head, and it looked kind of like a library, and he's digging through the cabinets. That's how it was described in the book. That part was actually amazing to see. Everything else was garbage.
Pure and simple.
Yeah.
Number 2, The Running Man. Arnold Schwarzenegger. I think it was mid 80s.
Yeah, I don't know if I've seen that one.
Like, there's no plot to the movie.
It's just, hey, we got Arnold.
Yeah.
There you go.
In the book, it's a dystopian society, and this guy's he has no money. You go to like a skyscraper place where they do like video game shows, and you win money. So he enters in one,
seen this movie.
and if he makes it away from the hunters for so long, he gets X amount of money. And they're chasing him, they're hunting him down, and he's just out in the world, you know. And in the movie, he's in like a dome. I'm like, it makes no sense, none at all. Horrible. And the absolute worst
I know this one.
movie adaptation, yes, you do, because we've talked about it. The Dark Tower. That is
I
the
knew it
corn
was
kernel on top of the poop cake.
Oh, I wanted it to be so good.
I know. I mean, for people who haven't read the books, imagine Harry Potter, all the movies, all the books crammed into one movie. And they also like leave out 3/4 of the characters. And the one character, the main character, Roland Deschain, one of my favorite written characters of all time,
The Gunslinger?
wasn't even in it. Yeah. He was in it, but they changed him and it wasn't him.
Because he said he didn't want to be a gunslinger anymore.
Yes, that is what bothered me the most. That one line when the person asks him, "Hey, you're a gunslinger," and he's like, "Not anymore." That's
How
not
did that
Roland.
happen? How
Roland
did that
would never
happen?
do that.
I actually never saw that movie, but I was really excited about it. I mean, because it's fantasy, you know,
Yeah.
I'm a fantasy nerd. But you got McConaughey and you got
Yeah.
Idris Elba. How
I
can
mean,
you not make a good movie?
Exactly.
I don't know.
McConaughey.
Your good movie is standing right there. It's those two guys.
Yeah,
Just
absolutely.
Make them do stuff.
Both fantastic actors. McConaughey did a spot-on Man in Black. He did really good at the part. Idris Elba did good for the crap that was written for him, but it wasn't written true to the character. Not at all.
The
And
main character.
The main
The
character.
main one.
The main character.
Because you know they were going to try to make all the other movies. You know they were going to try to start their own universe.
They was originally going to make one movie and then branch off into like a TV miniseries, kind of like Arrow does.
That'd have been great.
They would have been fantastic. I can't remember the fellow that they had originally picked as Roland, but you know, whatever. But instead, they cram all of this together to this poop ball, and they want you to swallow it. And I'm not eating it. I'm not.
I refuse.
I'm returning that to the store.
You know,
from whence it came.
did you ever actually finish the movie?
I did, because I paid for it in the theater, and I'm a cheap man, so I sat through the whole thing.
Okay, because you were probably too angry to notice like the little tidbits of the different Stephen King stuff in that from his cinematic universe, like the actual trailer that Pennywise was, the half that was in his basement, like his dungeon area.
Yeah.
That half that he was in, the other half was in the world of the Dark Tower.
Yeah. A lot of people don't realize this, but most of Stephen King's book actually tie in together, and the Dark Tower is like the central nexus of the Stephen King universe. So as you read through it, you'll see Insomnia, you'll see It. The turtle is mentioned in It, and it's one of the guardians of the beam in the Dark Tower, which that's a whole other topic to get into. We're not going down that rabbit hole. We're talking about bad movie adaptations.
How many books were in the Gunslinger?
Okay.
Oops.
I think it's like
Gunslinger
10
series.
or
There's seven
Seven.
main books, and there's like a little halfy book called Wind Through the Keyhole. Don't read that in order. It doesn't matter, but it's still a fantastic read.
Yeah.
And then there's a short story in Everything's Eventual called Little Sisters of Illyria. Also very good, but it doesn't have to be read anywhere in the series.
So
And really, Wind Through the Keyhole, you should read that after, because it has spoilers in it, because it's a story in a story in a story,
Oh,
if that
boy.
makes sense.
nope.
Yeah.
There several times in the Dark Tower, Roland tells stories about his childhood. So in this one, he's telling a story to his cadet about something that happened to him as a child. And in that story, young Roland is telling a story that was a legend that he grew up hearing to another child.
Right.
Well, he was technically considered a man at that point. He was a new gunslinger. He got his guns. There wasn't his father's guns, but he got guns. And when you get to the end of it, you realize other things in the series that make you go, oh, okay, that's not just a story he knew. That's something that happened, but he doesn't realize that yet. Not at that time.
I think the perfect way to make an awful adaptation of a book is to take 7 books and put them into a movie that's under 2 hours long.
Yeah, and also not even read them. I don't even think they read them.
They may not
because Jake and Roland almost develop a father and son relationship in the books.
Yeah.
And that wasn't apparent in the movie at all. It made me think of Anakin and Obi-Wan Kenobi in the prequel trilogy. That's how bad the on-screen chemistry was.
Would you recommend the Dark Tower series, Doug? I know the first one's
absolutely.
amazing, but I've heard that it kind of gets worse and worse as it goes.
I don't think so. Book 5, Wizard and Glass, it's a little slow because that is a whole book that's essentially a childhood story. So there's some ups and downs, but if you're a Stephen King lover and you've read his other things, yeah, absolutely read them. They're fantastic. It's my favorite series of books.
So, do you have any pet peeves over that?
The movie,
Yeah, like your worst pet peeve.
it existed.
That's it.
Well, I will say, I'm not going to say because it could sound really bad. I wasn't a fan of Idris Elba playing Roland due to book descriptions. He didn't fit how Roland was described in the book. But Idris Elba is such a fantastic actor that after thinking about it, I'm like, it's got to be good. He's a great actor. So I got past that.
Okay.
And like I said, Matthew McConaughey did a fantastic Man in Black. He was spot on.
So that brings me into my topic. And my topic
Smooth. So smooth.
is
God,
Segue
we're getting
like
so
Paul
good
Blart.
at this.
my topic is a pet peeve.
Gross.
What are your pet peeves? Not a pet peen. Not like that little lipstick skin.
Wait. Lipstick skin.
That's your pet's peen.
Stop saying it.
Oh, like a puppy dog. Oh, dear Lord.
It's like the Sarlacc.
I'm going to have to mark this one as explicit.
Aren't all of them?
Because we're talking about dog peen.
They
Well, we
peen
started out
outside,
with Planet of
but-
the Gapes.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah, circa 1 hour
By
ago.
Curious George.
Oh,
We could have our own universe of these movies.
so
with just us in them.
I know.
I was thinking about pet peeves the other day.
You can be the lead.
And pet peeves are things that absolutely irk you to your core. The things that just grind your gears harder than most anything else. I wanted to just have that as a general discussion just because I want to know what your pet peeves are. It can be anything that stands out to you, but if you want to keep it related to the nerddom, that would be podcast specific.
Yeah, I would say for
But
the
if
name
you-
of the podcast and
you
the
know,
whole format, we could do
You
that.
know, don't be like me with my
Too.
my driver's pet peeves, which I really have only one that I scream at people over, and that's blinkers. Just,
Oh, yeah.
why can't people use their blinkers? It just lets me know that you're about to turn right, and I'm not
Safe.
surprised.
It's so safe.
So,
If
yeah.
you use them right.
Anybody got some pet peeves? Nerddom pet peeves?
Nerd related, people thinking that quote unquote Baby Yoda in The Mandalorian is actually Baby Yoda.
That's pretty good. That's a good one.
Yeah. That's bothered me, and it shouldn't. But like you said, pet peeve. Yeah. Yeah, it's
up
calling
there.
him Baby Yoda. It's not.
It's not. And now, never mind. Shut up.
We
Marcus.
would have already talked about Mandalorian, but Tiny isn't caught up yet, so we're not going to
Quit
talk
reading
about
books, man.
I'm sorry.
I had to learn. Okay,
Hold
you'll learn.
on.
You'll
They're
learn.
my
that
friends.
There ain't no time to read when you're on this podcast.
Hold
you got to
on
watch stuff.
a damn minute here. Did you just flip the script? Is that what happened? You just flipped the script.
You're
on
the
Tiny.
reader.
You're the one who I yelled that exact same phrase at. Not
I know,
like,
and I had to learn my lesson. That's the point I'm trying to get across here.
okay, like a pet peeve. Like, say, like on the scale of 1 to 4. 1 being I really, I enjoy the game. I've played it a couple times. 4 being, I know the character history of every single ore and material within this game. Dungeons and Dragons players automatically assuming you're a 4. That's a pet peeve of mine.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I had a real hard time following that. I'm glad you went with a 4 scale because I've never heard of a 4 scale. That's like 4 stars. No,
that's what it
it's
gets.
3 or 5.
I mean, sorry. First of all, I feel so targeted.
Why? What number are you?
I mean, I'm obviously a natural 20.
Yeah, he is.
On my scale, what are you on that?
A natural 20.
Yeah. Marcus?
I must be confused.
Yes, I was too, but I think I can do this. So when someone says, "Oh, I love Dungeons and Dragons," and if you were to say that, and there's this other person who has read every single D&D manual, who knows the rules inside and out, they automatically assume that you are on that level.
Oh, yeah, no.
So they just go head over heels into this conversation of the deepest parts of this game that you pretty much you just
Like the
know it.
minutia.
Yeah,
Yes.
is that what you're saying? Like you saying I like D&D?
That's
and
one
somebody,
of your pet peeves, though.
Yes.
Okay.
Because
now I get it.
Because here's the thing about a lot of people that play Dungeons and Dragons. They're not that good at the social skills.
Well,
and that's
the
just a
best part of the
stereotype.
game. It is a stereotype. But that's the best part of the game is like the social aspect, creating a story together. I don't care about all the minutia.
Yeah,
As long as, if it's there for a reason, for a story reason, that's what they're for. These rules are supposed to be taken as you need them.
and I understand needing those mechanics and how in depth they are, and you need them if you're going to follow any of them. You kind of need to follow them all because then you run into the issue of a non-balanced game, which is kind of up to the dungeon master to make it balanced if you aren't following all those rules. But I don't know them all. Like I play the game for the story and for the for the fun of it and for the fantasy of it that you make up with your brain.
Yeah.
But some people really do play it just for those
Like
numbers.
a board game. They play it like a board game.
Yeah.
And it doesn't just revolve around the Dungeons and Dragons stuff. It could also be just anything involving nerddom because there's always going to be somebody that has just decided that they want to learn more facts about this specific thing than you, and regardless of how much you like it, they like it more. And that kind of stuff irks me as well. We dealt with a man like that at the Superman Museum in Metropolis, Illinois.
Yeah, we did.
Or was it Indiana?
No, yeah, it was Indiana.
But yeah, what was it? What was it over? Like, was it over an actor in like the 30s or something?
I think it was over who was the first, like the first Superman. And okay, so here's the situation. There's a guy in a Superman museum, and we're looking at a picture, and he's looking at a picture of a Superman, and he says, "When was this Superman?" And I was like, "Oh, it was then." And he was like, "No, it was then because this."
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. See? Like, he asked me the question, and I answered what I thought it was, and he's like, "No, actually, you idiot, it was 2 years before that." And yeah.
No,
it's
what
like
you
us.
said was incorrect. Your answer was not the correct answer for my nerddom.
It's like us asking like somebody younger, like, who's Batman to you? And then like, it's actually, Michael Keaton.
Stupid idiot.
Dummy.
Tiny, going back on the D&D thing, because that was a really good way to do this. You were fixing to say something.
Yes.
And you didn't.
From the DM perspective, rule lawyers. The player that can't just play, because as a DM, I'm God in this universe.
Yes.
So if I don't want to enforce said rule, I'm not going to. So for you to go, oh, but you're supposed to da-da-da-da, shut up.
Shut up and roll. Just shut up and roll.
Yeah. Don't make me do power word kill on your character.
It's true. And that's the kind of thing that I think before you do a Dungeons and Dragons session, it kind of needs to be spoken of like, okay, listen, we're doing this in the most fun way that we can, not the most board game way that we can, to where we
they
look
call
at
it, like-
every rule.
Like some games are more cinematic, is what they call
Right,
it. Kind of
yeah.
like it's like we're gonna be fudging some of the rules. We're playing for like,
Yeah.
like if you're playing an Arnold Schwarzenegger in Running Man.
Right.
Like let's just make him really awesome. You don't have to start out as level 1. Come on.
Right. Yeah, there's just there, but some people, and it's not a wrong way to play it by playing it by the exact rules
no.
and all the in-depth thing, because some people enjoy it more that way. But I think those people need to be the ones playing together, because I
Yes.
don't want that person DMing my game.
Oh, no.
I don't want that. I don't want that person being a player in a game that I'm DMing. Like, I want that away. Like,
Yeah.
I'm here to have a good time. I'm not going to spend 6 hours playing a game, all like just having to look up rules in books and numbers. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Now, I can't think of a specific one other than, honestly, people saying, yeah, okay, I do have one. My pet peeve right off the top of my head is the Nolan versus Batman movies. People like saying that's their favorite Batman.
That's my favorite Batman.
Bad
It
flick.
actually is.
And it can be, and that's fine.
But you just said it was your pet peeve.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
Because it's
This is great.
oh, he's
Got
just,
him.
He's just not. He's fine. He's just not a good Batman to me, because
I'll give you that.
he's not.
He's not wearing hockey
That's
pants.
what I'm saying. That's the part.
Okay, I'm talking about the actual movies
No, the
themselves.
the movies themselves, they're great. They're action packed. They're fun, crazy.
I just love Christopher Nolan.
The villains are great. The Christopher Nolan, the scores, like all the stuff,
Yes.
like it's great. But the character
I
of
can
Batman
get that.
is
Christian
my main.
Bale as Batman.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and just
I
the way
can
he
get-
was
I can
written,
get behind that.
he wasn't enough of a detective for me. He does like maybe one thing to where he analyzes a bullet that comes to memory, because 2 of those movies do not. They're so fuzzy in my mind because they're so forgettable. Like the first and the third one, like the one with the Joker, that one's memorable because
Right.
the Joker, and he does a phenomenal job at that character. But if you were to change that villain, is that movie memorable? Like to me, no.
Batman
I
Begins
think you're
was
right. Yeah.
the best one of all 3.
And I'm
Because
sure it
ninjas-
was.
Negative.
I'm sure it was. But for me, it was very forgettable. And I love DC Comics and I love superhero movies. Love them. They're my favorite things besides Star Wars. And it was just not good to me. I don't know, that the Batman part, but that's the part I was there for.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I didn't like that trilogy, because I was there to see the most epic Batman that I could see, but instead I got just this different superhero that I wanted the comics version that I was so used to reading and enjoying, that detective version of this like epic crime fighter. But instead I got the beat 'em up grumble boy. And that's all I got. I got the beat 'em up grumble boy that overcome obstacles, yes, but that's all he was. That's all he was in
I
those
mean, he's
films.
very accurate.
He wasn't even that good at martial arts.
No.
But he had the
He couldn't even
greatest
really turn
Batman
his head
voice.
until the second movie.
Yeah, because the way
Remember,
the
he
suit
had to
was
get that
made.
little new suit head installed.
So you want to be able to turn your head.
Yeah, it'd be nice if I'm fighting people all the time. Yeah.
Well, you can turn your head, but now you're more susceptible to knife wounds.
And unfortunately, we're going to have to turn our head away from this episode because we have reached.
I didn't get to say my pet peeve.
Did you not?
No.
I thought you did. Do it. We'll make it a long one. I don't care anymore.
Well, it's going to be a quick one. I'm sick of
No.
all these half-ass remakes and reboots and nostalgia garbage that's all over everywhere.
Like 1990s It.
Yeah.
But wait.
No, I mean,
No,
the
no,
new
no.
It would be a version of what I'm talking about. I'm not
Oh,
saying it's not good.
I heard it
I'm just
backwards.
saying this is the era of the era.
Yeah.
This is
it's
the era, of,
now.
of the remake and the reboot.
It's
and it
the
kind of
era.
gets old after a while. Let these iconic franchises rest.
Like Freaky Friday.
I did. I do agree that those originals, they're so epic in that world of the style of movie that build on that idea. Take the idea they've given and build on it as opposed to just doing it again.
I say it's my pet peeve, but honestly, I get excited sometimes when I'm like, "Oh, they're doing it again." Yeah, so I'm kind of a hypocrite.
But then if it sucks, it's like they gotta stop
can't
doing
believe they
this.
even did it.
Why are they even making things again?
yes, yes.
Just like
so
they've
it's
never
it's a
done
double-edged sword.
And they've never
Yeah.
done remakes that they should have. Like, they should have a remake of the Michael J. Fox classic, Teen Wolf. I got you so bad. I got both eyebrows for Back to the Future.
I
I
was
saw
about to
it in
swing.
your eyes.
Now MTV
that's meta.
does have a Teen Wolf TV show that they came out with years ago.
I've had a lot of food. Don't make me throw it all up.
Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize. Marcus, can we end now? I'm so sorry. We just started talking about D&D so much, about the thing, and I didn't realize that you didn't do yours, and I don't want to leave you out.
Give him angry brows.
Because yours was the best one. I can't handle that. I got to close my eyes now to finish this thing. Thank you for listening to this podcast. Thank you.
And this is our ASMR ending.
Thanks for joining us. I don't know what you joined us on, but go back on whatever this is and do it again next week on Monday, because we're doing it again next week on Monday. Spotify, iTunes, that kind of thing. Tell people. Tell other people that might like podcasts to listen to us rant and ramble about Star Wars and D&D and movie
come
remakes.
make fun of us.
Yeah, make fun of us. I want people to poke fun at how awful it is. You can go on Twitter at Nerd Grapevine. Follow us there. You can do the same thing at, what's the one with all the pictures? It's
Instagram.
not Facebook. Instagram. Go there.
OnlyFans.
It's at no. We got to do one of those too. We can do one of those when we do our movie verse with with the ones we were talking about earlier. And don't go to bestfriendstinyinc.com. Like I've mentioned before, very dangerous place to go right now. It's not working, so I don't know what's there. I'm afraid to go. Anything else?
I don't want to go.
Is that all? We have what? What are you wording? No, I know that part. I was just wondering if there was any part before I get there.
That's what I was gonna do.
Marcus, hit me with it. It's fair.
When life gives you grapes.
You can put them in a really long PVC tube, and as long as you've got a good enough breath, a deep enough breath, you can use it as like a little squishy dart, and it's like a spitball, but it's a grape. So you like spit it at somebody, and you spit
And
this
that's
grape
Nerd It Through the
out of the
Grapevine,
thing. So you like
everybody.
spit this grape out of this thing, and then it goes, but you got to blow really hard.
It's a podcast where four
And
best
then,
friends
and then
gather
whenever you
weekly.
keep blowing, you just got to get it in there.
In
And it
Jesus' name,
might-
amen.